Yo, 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 yo. What's good, everybody? GZTV back with another one, and we are back with. We're back with another Stranger Things review, and we are here getting into the last bits of season 4. We still have another season, it's been renewed, so that's good, but hey. It's the end of season 4, it's probably the end of Stranger Things for a couple of years. But yeah, we got season 4, episode 9, The Piggyback. This is where everything boils down, and it is beautiful. I love how this episode went. Oh my god. They're so good. They're so good at making stuff, Duffer Bros. It's on, folks. Welcome to the supersized... What? We got a review. We got a supersized final episode, The Piggyback. Let's get right into it. Let's go into the Russian side of things with Hopper and them. In Russia, the work ethic is questionable from Yuri. The smooches are intense from Joyce and Hopper. So a lot of emotions going around, a lot of aspects, a lot of stuff going on. So Yuri feels violated. Yuri feels kind of like unmotivated to help anybody because he has been violated. I will admit. They fucking did my boy dirty. Joyce and Hopper, through all the pain, through all the struggle and getting him out, they find a time for romance. And the yearning for lasagna is strong. Hopper, but also all of us, because who doesn't like a pasta layer cake? Shout out to Decider, by the way, for giving me this article. We are going to be using it for some focal points to kind of discuss this last episode and give you guys my thoughts. Yeah, Hopper has been in the prison so long and he's yearning for some good American food. While Yuri stalls on fixing Katinka, the curvaceous helicopter, which he treats like an actual woman, it's kind of strange, but the Russians have their ways, I guess. Yuri, in particular, has his ways. Hopper has some feelings about putting Joyce in danger, and then has some pants feelings, somehow undeterred by her correcting his pronunciation of Chianti and their food-centric verbal foreplay. They're still kind of talking about this date that they've been wanting to go on for such a long time. It's kind of interesting, really. They mac in the warehouse with all of Yuri's saints watching until the phone rings. It's the callback from the U.S. They pick it up, and it turns out to be someone from the U.S. calling them. The callback from the U.S. As they have this really romantic moment. They're kind of making out in this like church thing where Hopper originally escaped and went to find this peanut butter. But yeah, as Hopper calls to Murray, Antonov, and Joyce, Antonov is obviously the prisoner that was with Hopper, and they actually bonded, made a good friendship out of each other, and now he is escaping and wants to go to the motherland with Hopper and them, which is fire. And Joyce, it was a quick call with the stern lady agent and Lenora, who seemed to have no idea who he was, nor does he know who she is. She told him that the Doc Owens went with the girl Elle to fight evil. So yeah, they're kind of talking about, the usual. They're talking about 11. The U.S. wants to know where 11 is because obviously Hopper was a guardian of hers. They're off the grid and they're not alone. Joyce's kids are with them. Yikes. They stress over how to get to America, which is far, as a reminder, too far for Katinka and her heli booty to carry them, even if she was in working order, Yuri. I don't know if that helicopter can go that far. I mean, there's a lot of rusty war aircrafts in Russia, I'm sure. Also, it would take way too long to get back in time to help the others. So Joyce hatches a plan. Break back into the prison that they just broke out of, which sounds psychopathic, but once they execute the plan, it all goes well. So you can't really get mad at Joyce for that. And destroy the particles they saw in the creepy lab of Demogorgons. So they're going to try to, kill all the Demogorgon stuff, try to win that battle before they go back. Labagorgons, what we're going to call it. She correctly guesses that they're fighting a hive mind and that they may be able to weaken it and buy the kids some time from afar if they get them particles gone. But I don't think that's going to happen because they really have nothing to do with the inner conflict that's going on in Hawkins. They might have slowed some stuff down, but I don't think they played that big of a role in helping everybody. I think all of the kids did all the work while the parents sat back, which is the opposite of what you would think. Hop has a flamethrower to take out the Demogorgons. That's how they will execute this plan, so that's pretty badass. They find a bunch of weapons in the storage place in this small little weird town in Russia. I don't know what's up with it, but I'm not going to question it. Antonov is tasked with motivating Yuri to repair Katinka while Hop, Joyce, and Murray storm the castle. So while they're in the prison, Yuri and Antonov are talking to each other, trying to find some sympathy. I mean, they're fellow Russians. They're both in kind of the same situation here, interacting with some Americans and not having a clue of what to do, what to think. And so they kind of have a bonding moment over it. Antonov's like, I know you got this in you. I want you to believe you are a fellow Russian, that sort of thing. When they drive back in, it's quiet. Too quiet. Not quiet. The radio that we hear crackling with gunfire and shouting at Tan abandoned guard station. Yikes. So we hear this radio, we're like, oh shit, something's going down at the prison. They're trying to fight off the Demogorgons, the guards are, because the prisoners got eaten up already. Except for, obviously, Hop and Antonov. Back at the warehouse, Antonov first tries bullying Yuri, then flattering him, saying that he heard the peanut butter smuggler was once a great man. Yeah, so Yuri's trying to do some convincing, pull off this magic against, or Antonov's trying to pull the magic off against Yuri. He wins him over to helping the Americans by convincing him that the monster they're fighting knows no borders, and they could use a war hero like Yuri to save the world. Fine, that type of thing. Yuri's like, whatever. If you think I can do this, I guess I will help you guys out. The Labagorgon is a mess, and the tanks are all smashed. Pandemonium has occurred in the prison between the time that, obviously pandemonium was already going on when Hop and them escaped, but by the time they get back, it's like, holy shit, what happened here? We can assume that an actual herd of monsters are on the loose because they're certainly not in their glass prisons. The Russians do keep a couple of the creatures in that thing, but not all of them are locked up. A bloodied guard tells them that the gunfire shattered the tanks, they came alive, and the particles... Yeah, so when they were fighting, the bullets smashed the tanks and they went running. They came alive and the particles, which they called the shadow, went into them and turned them into monsters. So when you get infected with this shadowy shit, you become one of the monsters. So it's kind of like a zombie apocalypse illness spread into I don't know who. Instead of answering, he unhelpfully dies. So they were trying to ask who it went into. It could have been the Russian guards. It could have been anybody, but he couldn't help them. He dies. Some people. New plan. Hop assigns roles. Murray with the flamethrower will be grill master. He will be the one spraying down with the flames on the Demogorgons. Joyce will be jailer at the surveillance monitors to pretty much monitor the area, make sure that everything's going to plan and people aren't dying. And Hop will be the bait to lure the monsters into the pit, where Joyce will push the button to lock them in. And yeah, so Hop will be the distraction and Murray will cook them to a crisp. Joyce will lock them in. Joyce is having flashbacks for her former boyfriend, Sean Austin, getting fully eaten by the same monsters in the honestly pretty recent past, but it's been so long since those Stranger Things episodes came out a while ago that it seems like it's been some time. But Hop assures her, not him, not today. Hop is not that guy. He is the absolute hero in this series. He is going to get it done. But still has lasagna to eat after all. Blows her a kiss and gets going. Obviously, he's pretty quickly being overtaken by a monster. We'll leave him here for now and come back to see what's up with him in our epic finale. So we leave that story. We move on to Robin, Steve, Nancy, Eddie, Dustin, Max, Lucas, and Erica. Like a whole gang. The Scoops Troop configuration is what we're going to call that. They go over their plan. Lucas, Erica, and Max will go into the real-world Creo house to use Max's Vecna bait, with Erica acting as a signal go-between from the playground, kind of being like, oh, are you here? Are you following the phase of the plan? That sort of thing. Robin, Steve, and Nancy will go into the upside-down Creel house to attack Vecna's body in the attic. Once they know he's got Max in his mind palace, and once he goes into that trance, once they get him where they want him to be, their plan is simply flambe, as Robin puts it. As for Eddie and Dustin, decoys, not heroes. They're just going to be chilling at this little shelter thing they built and fighting off some demo bats in the process. We're going to figure out who dies really soon, guys. So, wow. They're meant to lure the bats away from the Creel house in the upside down, clearing the way for the others to enter. Decked out in camo and in Dustin's case some extraneous dog tags, they alternate between dropping people and weapons through to the upside down. So they're kind of facilitating people going to the upside down. Don't try to be cute or be a hero or something, Steve tells Dustin and Eddie. Look at us. We are not heroes, Eddie agrees, then tells Steve to give him hell. Steve's the hero. He's going to play that role on this team. Let's go to the third faction. Jonathan, Will, Mike, Eleven, and Argyle, who's one of the most important characters. I love him. He's great. They're also striking out on getting back to Hawkins in a timely manner and have to get creative. There aren't any seats on the bus, and Argyle's best idea, bless him, is for them to ride in the luggage compartment. Dogs do it all the time. He's fucking hilarious. I love Argyle. He's such a fan favorite character. 11 has another idea that doesn't require any physical travel. Piggyback. She thinks she can invade Max's mind and fight Vecna there. She explains, drawing it out on a dirty window with a stick figure that looks happier than Max ever has, to be honest with you. All they'll need is a bath and a lot of salt. Argyle has the hookup, man. After realizing she doesn't just feel the stank, has an idea for a magical place that has all you need. My brave little superpowered friends. That mind fight is on. He's in full support. He's actually really big key to this show. We're going to Surfer Boy's Nevada franchise, boys. Let's go. It's like the upside down of Stoner Dome here. Argyle importantly adjusts his Surfer Boy visor and greets an alternate Argyle as my dude, who my dudes him right back. So it's a guy that literally looks like Argyle, fits the stereotype, whatever. Our surfer boyfriend would love to feed a fellow surfer boy, but the kitchen is closed, my dude. Argyle plays it straight. They're not there for pie. She needs a tub with a bunch of salt to enhance her psychic powers so she can save the world from this super bad dude. But to make this salty tub, we require your kitchen. Natch, one problem. Surfer Boy needs to meet Chaz at Taco Bell in 10. Jonathan pulls a my dude of his own and offers the great equalizer of weed, so kind of bribes him into letting them use the kitchen. W. My dude complies and the game is on. That's just what we're going to call him from now on. Will and Jonathan work on making the salt tub in the walk-in freezer and have an emotional talk about being there for each other. Brotherly love. Mike flirts with 11 while crafting some sensory deprivation glasses out of a pizza box, which looked fucking amazing. And Argyle expertly slings a pineapple pizza, which horrifies Mike and delights 11. Snacks are important, my dude. They need that for the trip. Argyle there for just the comic relief. I love every second of him being here. The pineapple pizza. Finally, it's time. 11 slides into the tub and slips on her pizza glasses. The lights immediately start flickering as she goes straight into her state. So yeah, now that everyone is in place across and under the world, we're entangled. Bear with me because this episode is over 2.5 hours at runtime that, if it were a movie, I'd walk out and go, so fun, but probably could stand to lose at least half an hour. Just saying, it's a journey, so let's do it. Let's go to Dustin and Eddie. Dustin and Eddie are at Eddie's trailer in the Upside Down, reinforcing it. Nancy, Robin, and Steve are walking through the woods. Robin complaining that would suck if Vecna destroyed the world just because we got lost in the woods. So they're trying to venture their way through the woods, trying to find Vecna. Steve and Nancy have a talk where he admits that he crawled backwards as a baby until he bonked his head. Then he learned how to crawl forward. It's a pretty decent metaphor, actually, for what he says is going through life. Super confident and then realizing he is also an idiot. Yeah, Steve is kind of a dumb character, but he admits that, I guess. He thanks Nancy for giving him a metaphorical bump on the head 2 years before and wonders whether they'd still be together if some other girl had given him that awakening. It's definitely shaping up to be a moment, but then Robin comes running back to deliver good news and a total buzzkill before they can smooch. It happens literally every time in the show. They've arrived at the Creel house, the Hellbats swarming overhead. So they've found the destination. In the real world, Max, Lucas, and Erica walk the Creel house in sock feet, with Lantern silently hunting Vecna. Max's headphones blasting Kate Bush as usual. How many times has she played that damn song on the show? When the lanterns buzz up, phase 1 is afoot. Erica runs to the playground to show the signal, and Lucas and Max settle in to wait and exchange cute handwritten notes. They can't talk because they gotta kind of sneak up on Vecna, of course. Lucas goes hard on exclamation points and happy faces, wondering how this guy would fare sending emails in 30 years. He's definitely a hope this finds you well with an inspirational quote in his signature. I can just feel it. Lucas is just that type of polite guy. Gotta love him. They make a plan to see a movie on Friday, complete with Max, that's assuming if they fucking make it out safe, complete with Max drawing a cute stick figure tableau of them holding hands and also popcorn. When Erica's flashlight signal clicks on, Max springs into action in the house for phase 2, distracting Vecna. She takes off her headphones and laces up her Converse. I think they're Vans. monologuing about how she kind of wanted Billy to die as she makes her way to the attic. She wanted him to die. What? That doesn't make sense. Vecna sees her darkest thoughts, she says, so he knows that she would think about something terrible happening to her brother. She just stood there. She's kind of being, like, optimistic, I suppose. She just stood there when he died at the mall, not because she was afraid, but because she maybe wanted him to die. Maybe we figured that out. That's a big confessional. Vecna's not taking the bait. It's like her saying that she wanted Vecna to draw away from this terrible memory. In the pizza freezer, Elle narrates to the rest of the crew as she travels the astral plane or what have you. She can see Max and Lucas in their lanterns and says that their plan isn't working. Obviously, it's not working. They need 11. Max sits on the floor, Lucas looking on, saying that she wanted Billy to disappear, and now she's guilty and wants to disappear herself. Now she's like, why would I say these type of things? I know it's to get Vecna off this memory, but why would I say these things? Lucas, aghast, asks if it's true that she wanted Billy to die. He says it's not normal to fantasize about people dying, and typical teen boy makes it about himself. Do you ever have those thoughts about me? He's getting super mean, telling her that maybe it would be best if she dies, that it would be fitting if Vecna takes her and she's the one who breaks the world. That's fucked up, man. Wait a minute. My guy's eyes are glowing blue as he's dropping his verbal devastation. It's Vecna time. Vecna has pretty much taken over his body and made him say these shitty things. We realize that Max is in a trance in the real world, Lucas shouting at her very still body. So Max is like imagining Lucas saying, I want you to fucking die, kill yourself. In Surfer Boy, the lights are flickering and 11 is trying to get to Max's mind to begin the piggyback experiment, while Max shouts at Vecna Lucas to stay away from her. 11 is seeing flashes of Max apologizing to Billy, singing the never-ending story song, right? Arriving at school in Hawkins for the first time, I think I am in a memory, Elle says, a Max memory. She emerges into a skating park looking for Max. She knows that's Max's stomping grounds. Lucas uses his flashlight to signal Phase 3, which is about where things start unraveling, to be real, honestly. This is the turning point in the episode. See, the Basket Bros have figured out that something is going on at the murder house, as they call it, and they've tackled Erica. The basketball guys show up to the house. It's fucking annoying. I hate those guys. Not great, but I have confidence in Erica America to see this through. Dustin and Eddie pick up the signal, and it's time for them to rock. Literally. Eddie fetches his beloved guitar, and they head to the roof of the trailer to distract the Hellbats and draw them away from Creel House long enough for the others to enter and set fire. The usual. Chrissy, this is for you, Eddie says, and rips into Metallica's Master of Puppets. Love this song, dude. This song's fire. Honestly, it rules. There's no other word for it than absolutely metal, what they call it. Dustin is in awe, headbanging and screeching. I don't blame him. Eddie is absolutely shredding as the bats come to see the show. Dustin counts Billy down, and they hop into the reinforced trailer where Dustin screams that it was dude most metal ever. And they jump up and down, bellowing together while the bats pelt the side of the trailer looking for a way in. There's going to be a way for the bats to get in, you know that. Meanwhile, Max is running from Vecna in the Mind House, the specter of Billy banging on a door and trying to escape. She's thinking of dancing with Lucas for the first time to Every Breath You Take. Love that song, too. And it's both very sweet and very intense. As Vecna Billy manages to break open the door and Eddie finishes his guitar solo, Max opens her eyes to find herself alone. In the decorated school gym, the memory of the dance, obviously from Season 1. It worked. Holy shit, she breathes. Same. Rob and Steve and Nancy open the door to the upside-down Creel house. The good news is that the bats have been successfully distracted. The bad? The house is absolutely covered in vines. Yikes. They cautiously hopscotch in. So if they get hit with the vines, they get choked out. 11 spots Tiny Max in the skate park memory, flipping off a bully and telling him to bag his face, which is funny. Memory Max can't see Elle, who realizes that there's a memory inside a memory, spotting a boombox playing Every Breath You Take from the school dance. In the memory safe heaven, things are getting a little less safe for Max. The streamers begin drooping, and the flowers on the table are wilting and turning gray as she watches, converting to the upside down. Balloons pop, exploding blood. I always knew school dances were the worst. A record player starts playing a distorted, warbling Dream a Little Dream of Me, literally Creel's music. Things are going south. 11 hears the music too, and sees storm clouds gathering in the distance. They might be doomed. In the Creel house attic, Lucas wonders what the hell is taking so long for Erica to signal back. Well, she got captured. That's what the hell. Jason and his handgun burst into the attic, spotting Max and trying to wake her up, then turning on Lucas. Is this what you did to Chrissy? He's trying to blame Lucas for this. I mean, what the hell is wrong with Jason? Jason was the most hated character in this whole fucking thing. He points the gun at him, telling Lucas to turn around, empty his pockets, and then wake Max up. He can't do that, obviously. No can do, my guy. If I wake her too soon, we all die. But Jason counters, if we don't wake her up right now, you die, Sinclair. Just you. Yeesh. Jason is not buying the explanation that Chrissy was seeing things and that she went to Eddie to buy drugs because she was scared and looking for help. Yes, she went to fucking Eddie. Jason, get over it. Not because she was an unwitting satanic sacrifice. I was wrong about you, Jason says about Lucas. I never should have let you in the door. Lucas gets him back. And I never should have knocked. I thought I wanted to be like you. Popular, normal. But as it turns out, normal is just a raging psychopath. That's what I've been saying. Jason has a vibe, and it's not a good one. Jason gives him a 5-second countdown to wake Max, and Lucas lunges at him, the gun going off. It's on. Erica has also escaped her own basket row and made a break for it to come to Lucas's aid. In the tussle between Jason and Lucas, the Walkman, the only hope of pulling Max from her trance, is crushed underfoot. Jesus. Max is screwed at this point. When the Walkman breaks, it's like, oh my god. More bad news for Dustin and Eddie. The Bats found a way in. While they're celebrating Eddie's distraction, a bat punches through a ceiling vent. They attack it, bellowing, die, die, die. They do manage to plug the hole, high five, but realizes there are other vents. Dang. They realize there are hella hellbats in the back of the trailer, and it's time to boogie. They shut the door against them and get back in the hole leading to the real world, where Dustin goes through first. Eddie begins to climb as well, but hesitates. Why did Eddie do this? I don't know. As Dustin eggs him on to climb and get the hell out of that literal hell, he makes a decision, slicing off the rope and flipping the questionably stained mattress back, blocking a distraught Dustin from getting back through. I'm buying more time, he shouts. Dustin begged him to come back, but he didn't. This episode's going to be 30 minutes, isn't it? Booking it out of the trailer and onto a bicycle, Hellbat's giving chases as he taunts them to come get me, you sons of bitches. Dustin manages to take a flying leap and claw through the hole, landing hard on his ankle on the other side without the gnarly mattress to break his fall. So yeah, Dustin went back for him. Eddie is knocked off his bike and swarmed by the bats. His own words about running from Chrissy's mangled body because he didn't know what to do. His "We are not heroes" line echoing in his head. He hefts his trash can lid shield up and stands against them, and it's very badass, though the feeling I have about where this is going is decidedly more bad than badass. Robin, Steve, and Nancy are also in trouble. A Vecna earthquake shook the house, and they touched those ding-dang vines when they fell, and now all three of them have been grabbed by the tentacles, pinned to the walls, and being squeezed and choked. Eesh. Max tries to barricade her memory gem, but it's not working. Vecna's stained glass door appears, followed by the monster man himself. She can't hide. He tells her he knows what she's doing and can see her friends too. I can feel them. I can feel them dying. As the clock chimes, it looks like, yep, they are. Nobody's in a good place, emotionally or physically. It's time, Max. He throws out his arm and pins her in the wall, creeping closer and telling her how weak and fragile she is, how she's going to break her. He's going to break her. He's about to do so, lifting his hand to her face to end it all, when he's suddenly flung away from her with force. 11 pulls up to the scene. She's got everything one has, plus 10. She slowly turns Vecna, suspended in the air, to face her. You, he growls. Hi, she replies, and flings him away into a wall. It's on. As 11 helps her up, Max asks if she's real and how this is happening. I piggybacked from a pizza dough freezer, obviously. Vecna is recovering, so it's time to face off. He tells Vecna it's going to be beautiful, and it's all thanks to you, as they start fighting. He quickly gains the upper hand, thrashing her around in the pizza freezer with what closed caption tell me is some eldritch thrumming. Her body convulses, and the crew realizes she's gotten in and she's fighting Vecna. I'm telling you, if you watch this episode through, you gotta put on closed captioning for the descriptions alone. They're fantastic. They're funny. For example, as Vecna continues to thrash 11 and then immobilizes Max when she attempts to charge him, he floats 11 towards him while ominous dirge plays, and he brings them both into his misty red mind palace, where he keeps all of his victims like trophies, their twisted bodies pinned to columns forever. The clock ticks and 11 is immobilized by Icarus vines. held fast to the stained glass door. Max, unconscious, is pinned too. 11 gets Vecna's attention by shouting that Papa is dead. I know what he did to you, she tried to reason with him. You were different. Like me, he hurt you. He made you into this. He is the monster, Henry, not you. He says no, Papa wasn't a monster. He was just some guy seeking greatness through others. Yeah, that's a fucking monster. He couldn't control them or shape them. In fact, do you not see 11? He did not make me into this. You did. We flash back to baby 11 absolutely wasting Henry and his orderly whites, sending him through the wall and into the other dimension. She did do that to an extent, but yeah. Once he realized he wasn't dead, he began exploring, where he discovered a means to become the ultimate predator, like his beloved spiders. In the memory, he reaches out to a dark cloud, which forms into the shape of a spider, and reaches back. At all this time, the Demogorgons, the Mind Flayer, all of it, that's been his doing. This whole fucking time. That's what we figure out. All I needed was someone to open the door, and you did that for me without even realizing, didn't you? We see 11's earliest explorations through the dark place, those missions that Papa sent her on. I sought your power, so don't you see? Once again, you have freed me. Bars. He tells her that she and her friends have lost. And as we see flashing between our scattered groups, it's not looking awesome for any of them. Lucas is getting the absolute crap beaten out of him. Eddie just got bitten by a bat with more coming. There's nothing you can do to stop this now. The Demodog is on top of Hop. Steve, Nancy, and Robin are getting choked by tentacle vines, and Lucas is getting choked by Jason. Vecna wants to pull a Thanos and remake the world into something beautiful, which is Cap. It's not going to be beautiful when he's done with it. Let's see here. He wanted to have 11 by his side, but now I just want you to watch. He walks away towards Max as a vine white wraps around 11's throat. He tells Max not to be afraid and to try to stay very still. It will all be over soon. This episode's runtime, man. It's crazy. As Max's body begins to levitate in the attic, the pizza pack panics and tries to wake 11. The pizza pack, who can't breathe. Will reminds Mike that he's the heart and he can lead them. Dude, I don't like Will. I cannot fucking stand Will for some weird reason. They pull her body to a table, and Mike begins monologuing and telling 11 that he loves her. You're my superhero. But he'd love her even if she wasn't. He believes she can do anything, but right now, she just needs to fight. In the Mind Palace, she looks determined and her tentacle vines loosen. She fights out of it. As Max's limbs begin to twist and crack in the attic, Lucius breaks free and begins decking Jason. The Demogorgon is getting closer and closer to Hop's face. Eddie is getting eaten by bats as Dustin runs for him. 11 screams and throws out her hands in the screen, goes black. It's fucking insane. After a beat, we see Vecna flying away from Max, hurled by 11's powers. Max's body thuds to the ground. Joyce makes a heroic entrance on Russia, nailing the monster with the shock stick before she, Murray, and Hop manage to trap them and set the whole dang pack of monsters on fire. Vecna is pinned to one of his own columns in his Mind Palace, and all of the Hellbats drop abruptly. Steve, Robin, and Nancy are also dropped from their tentavines, which are slithering away, retreating. I don't believe in a higher power or divine intervention, but that was a miracle. Which means it's time for Phase 4, Flambe. One last Demogorgon has managed to stand up, still on fire, and Hop shoots it about 1,000 times to no avail before he spots a sword on the ground, Natch. Like a full-on Lord of the Rings sword. Real epic fantasy hero stuff. He slices the monster's head off, which was crazy. Ella's doing L-arm, holding Vecna up against the pillar, and the upside down, the scoops have made it to the attic and Vecna's vulnerable body. You and your friends believe you have won, don't you? But this is only the beginning of the end. You have already lost. No, you have, Vecna. As Kate Bush, the only fitting soundtrack for this moment, blares, Steve hurls a flaming bottle at Vecna, who bursts into flame. In the Mind Palace, he dissolves into red smoke before 11's eyes. Back in the attic, Robin hits him with more flaming bottles, and Nancy and her sawed-off shotgun march towards him, shooting 5 times before his body flies backwards out the window. Dead? Big question mark. That's what we're going to be left off on. In Russia, Katinka the helicopter arrives, and Murray, my personal hero, sums it up with a celebratory son of a bitch. The good guys won. The good guys won? Again, big question mark. Something we're going to be left off with. The good guys appear to have not, in fact, won. Steve, Nancy, and Robin stand on the porch, looking at the charred mark on the ground where Vecna's body should be, but isn't. And Eddie, poor Eddie. Eddie has played his last solo. I didn't run away this time, right? He tells a weeping Dustin, then makes him promise to look after those little sheep for me, because I'm actually going to graduate. I think it's my year, Henderson. I think it's finally my year. I love you, man. Dustin loves him too, and then Eddie is Deddy. Boo. Rewind, I hate it. Why did Eddie have to die, dude? That's terrible. Oh my god. Eddie came for one season, was in 9 episodes, and then fucking died. That is so unfortunate. In the real world Creel House attic, Erica bursts in, where Lucas is holding Max's literally broken and bloody body. We saw at least 3 limbs go full twisty, and her eyes have blood streaming out of them. She's alive, but barely. While Erica goes to call an ambulance, Max tells Lucas she can't see or feel anything, and he begs her to hold on. 11 is watching them from her dark place mind dimension. Max doesn't want to die, she says, but then she goes ahead and does it anyway. The clock ticks loudly and then rings its 4 chimes. Yikes. The good guys definitely did not win. We see as lines run from each of the 4 gates through the town, ripping straight through anything in their path, including Jason's body, which is fully sliced. Oh my god, it was crazy. To meet in the middle. We watch from above as an explosion booms in the center. Mike begs 11 to wake up, while in her mind world, 11 watches Lucas cry over Max's body. No, you're not going, she whispers, replaying her own happy memories of their friendship in their head and reaching out to put her hand on Max's chest. Again, the screen goes black. 2 days later, the Chiron tells us, which is also about how long this episode is. Just saying, it is really long. It didn't seem that bad for me, though. Cars are streaming out of Hawkins as the Surfer Boy van drives in towards the black columns of smoke that are all over the town. A news report helpfully informs us that this is being called an earthquake of unprecedented proportions and mentions that Eddie, the prime suspect in recent satanic cult murders, is still missing. Hawkins' tourism board must be thrilled as usual. The van pulls up to Nancy's house, and Mike, Will, Jonathan, Argyle, and 11 are reunited with Nancy and her family, as well as Robin, Dustin, and Steve, with lots of happy tears, and in the case of Jonathan and Nancy, a very unsexy kiss on the forehead. Very awkward. It's been a while since they've been together. I get it. Mike is banned by his mother from going on vacation ever again, or to college. Lucas is at the hospital reading to Max, who's in a coma and may not wake up, her sweet stick figure drawing taped to the wall. Her heart stopped for over a minute, and doctors have no idea what made it start again. Lucas says it's a miracle. Elle takes her hand. Was it Elle? The Hawkins High School gym has transformed to a relief center with cots and medical services, and Steve, Robin, and Dustin arrive to drop off donations and the volunteer. Robin ends up making PB&Js and sweetly awkward conversation with her crush, Vicky, who says she broke up with her boyfriend. Score, Robin's got a chance. He didn't even like Fast Times, which really should have been a flag, she says, as Steve looks on from across the gym like a proud uncle. You go, Robin. Speaking of uncles, Dustin spots Eddie's, putting up posters asking for information about him. He gives him Eddie's guitar pick necklace and tells him he was with him when the earthquake hit, and that he wishes people would have gotten to know sweet goofball Eddie because they would have loved him. He could have saved himself, but he fought. He fought. He fought and died to protect his town, this town that hated him. He isn't just innocent Mr. Munson, he's a hero. Oh my god, that was so beautiful. Good job, Dustin. Finally, it's time for Elle to go back into hiding, since the military still thinks she's behind all this nonsense and wants to, kill her. The Surfer Boy van, which at this point has really seen some stuff and is almost definitely going to come out of Argyle's paycheck, rolls up to Hop's abandoned cabin, which Argyle dubs a fortress of grody-ness, hole in the roof and all. As they get to a cleaning party, Jonathan and Nancy unconvincingly agree that they're okay, and he says that his Emerson letter just never came. No time, like literally never, to tell the truth, I guess. Will and Mike discuss Elle's emotional state, not great, and the future of the world, also not great. They agree that they're just going to have to kill Vecna, and Will says that his spidey sense is tingling, a souvenir from that first go-round in the Upside Down years ago. He knows more is to come. Vecna's hurt, but he's not dead. I still remember what he thinks and how he thinks, and he's not going to stop, not until he's taken everything and everyone. We have to kill him. 11 is interrupted from her brooding in her own old room, searching for Max in her mind by a familiar voice. Hey, kid. Hop's back. Man, it was very emotional for that. 11 sniffs out that she always kept the door cracked 3 inches, that she never gave up on him. They admire each other's shaved heads, and 11 declares Hop's new look bitchin', which is funny. Outside, they find Joyce in a group hug with her sons, and Elle goes to them too, the rest of her family. I'm happy you went to your conference, Elle tells Joyce, looking at Hop. Mike says hey to Hop, who says, you've grown. You've shrunk, Mike says. They hug. Very, very nice ending scene, I guess. It won't last, though. Will grabs the back of his neck and looks up at the sky. They all look up. Not good. Thunder rumbles. The upside-down particles float around in the air. People are seeing it all over the town. It's like pollen, but from hell, literally. Holly thinks it's snow, but Holly doesn't know anything. She's a little girl. The kids walk out into a field of colorful wildflowers, 11 in the lead. As red lightning flashes in the distance, we see that there's a dividing line. The field abruptly turns from lush and green to gray and shriveled, the deadest of dead, so pretty much the town's turning into the Upside Down. Flower wilts in 11's hand as she picks it, as we hear dire choral vocalizations. Thank you, closed caption. The lightning flashes one last time, and we smash to the credits. Yeah, that's our show, at least until season 5. Yeah, shout out to Casey Wickman for writing this article. That's what I read it off of, and oh my gosh, that was a mouthful. We're finally done.